everybody, it is Quicken and welcome back to Tattoo Talk Tuesday. So if it is your first time joining us, Tattoo Talk Tuesday is our weekly interactive talk show where I take user-submitted questions and try to lend my experience to you guys as a tattoo collector. Before we get started, I just want to say that on the Tattoo Talk Tuesday playlist, this is the 100th episode. So if it is your very first time joining us, definitely check out the playlist. For the last 2 years, I believe, this show has been a way of exploring questions I often get in the public, just as a tattooed person, a way to open up conversations with you guys. You know, sometimes I'm not directly reading like somebody's question that was submitted to me, but this has been a really cool place to like explore concepts, talk about, you know, how to make appointments, all the way to like different subcultures in tattooing. It's been a really fun journey. Very awesome. I hope to keep this series going and growing. The interviews have always been really cool. Sometimes the interviews don't necessarily answer a specific question, but like I said, this show has kind of manifested into its own weekly kind of thing, but always interactive in the comments regardless. So thank you guys always if you've been here since the first episode or if you're just tuning in today to talk about this awesome question. I have gotten this question before. I think I've answered it on Tumblr before too, but I feel like I answered it a little brazenly and not really like given it its proper attention, especially not in an episode. And that is because it is a hard question to answer and a hard question to like, just deal with. But, you know, after I get the same question a couple times, it's obvious to me I need to either rework my original answer that was probably on Tumblr or like in conversation or maybe even on a 5-Fact Friday, not like fully addressed. So this is just another way that this question is formatted, but I do get this question a lot. So here's this one. Hi Quicken, longtime fan of your YouTube channel. I just got my first big prominent tattoo on my forearm last Sunday, and within a few hours, I hated it. I didn't see it coming. I researched the artist, I had a super meaningful idea, but I'm just so caught up. My anxiety is in overdrive and it's making me spiral. I don't expect you'll message me back, but if you could maybe in the future talk about initially regretting but eventually loving tattoos, either in your case or your friends. Sorry to bother you. No bother. So in today's episode, I'm going to talk about that kind of feeling, the instant regret of a tattoo. In this question, it said regretting your tattoo at first and eventually loving it. I want to talk about the process of hating your tattoo. I wanted to talk about tattoos that could be instantly, like you instantly regret them or you instantly do not love them if you don't want to use the word regret. And I feel like this really hits home to me because I have a tattoo that I do not love. And the moment I got it, I knew I didn't like it. And I'm not encouraging a witch hunt, you know, that's my own thing that I am working through. But you know, that day never came where I like loved that tattoo. So I am going to speak from experience as well, but I'm not trying to initiate a witch hunt or talk about any of my tattoos negatively or put any of them on a stage. I just wanted to say that I relate from experience as well and add like my experience to this conversation without specifically talking about any of my tattoos. Because it's hard. I mean, we love our tattoo artists, we follow them, like in the message, you know, we do research and we feel like we trust our tattoo artists. So I feel like we don't feel too comfortable saying that we received a tattoo we didn't like. I know that I'm friends with a tattoo artist and I will never say that I don't like it. So what do? You know, you potentially go through all the research, you find the tattoo artist you love, and you get that tattoo and you instantly know you don't want it. I think a lot of this, you know, I don't want to say can be avoided because it sounds like, you know, I got that tattoo as someone who is already a tattooed person. So sometimes, despite research, despite all of that stuff, it's on your body, you're wearing it, and you're like, fuck, what happened? I feel like there is this idea that we trust tattoo artists, and even if they like come, they show us a stencil, they show us the drawing, you follow them on Instagram, you know, you've seen their tattoos healed, you've done every step. If you see the stencil and you're like, I'm not sure, but I trust the artist, then you get the tattoo and you're like, I don't love it, but maybe I'll learn to love it, and then you just never do. That is okay. I feel like it's something that we don't want to admit because the permanence of tattoos it's so looming. And you tell your friends, like you tell your buds you're getting tattooed. They're like, hey, let me see that tattoo. You made such a big deal out of it. And you're like, never mind. It's hard because unless you draw that tattoo on your body and wear it for like a month before you get it, you're kind of just like taking a huge risk, and not every risk has a reward. When I got the tattoo I didn't want, I came home and I was just like, shit, what have I done? And it was only a couple hours where I was like, shit, I have to get it removed. That's gonna suck. I made a bad choice. And like they said, like my anxiety was in overdrive, you just feel regret. And because you're challenged with permanence, that regret is like insanely amplified. There is also this idea though that when you get a tattoo you might not like it and then you may learn to love it. In hairdressing, the background I come from, there's like this idea that if you get a big change, bangs, you go blonde, you know, you cut all your hair short, it's going to be very striking to you and you're not going to recognize your image. And there are people who look into the mirror afterwards and instantly love it. They're like, oh my god, what I wanted. But then there are other people, we usually say it takes about 7 days to get used to a big change. Like if you go blonde, or if all of a sudden you go brunette, or you go turquoise, you get bangs, you shave your head. There's this kind of 7-day period that we warn clients where you're like, you might look in your reflection and hate this, but give it like 7 days. I know I had a class earlier this year where we went blonde, and that's what we told my model. We were like, this is a blonde class. We're just letting you know that blonde might be very striking to you, but it's going to look great with your complexion. Like everything's going to look really good. And we formulated everything and showed her color swatches. But once the entire class was done, she was like, yeah, this is a dramatic change. I feel like with my experience, I could lend that to being tattooed. I mean, there were still times when I was first getting tattooed, first getting large tattoos, where it did feel striking. I go through weird waves of like coming to the realization that I'm tattooed still. And you know, you're used to seeing your body a certain way your entire life, and then all of a sudden there's like a dark spot on it that you recognize as permanent. It is a little striking, jarring, something that you do have to get used to. I've been tattooed and not instantly loved the tattoo, but I am sort of in this regiment where I'm like, all right, make the tattoo appointment, let's go. I don't want to be late for my bus. Like, oh yeah, pack a granola bar, let's go. So getting tattooed for me is a little bit more routine. So I feel like I just needed a tattoo. So that's why I was a little, like, it was striking to me to get a tattoo I didn't want. I cried and I felt really terrible. And, you know, after a while, you either get used to it and you're like, ah, shit, gotta get that one removed. And that's kind of what it is. I mean, with technology to constantly remind you that the best tattoo exists, I feel like we're scrolling on Instagram or we're following portfolios on Tumblr and we see tattoos that are perfected and we're like, damn, wish my tattoo looked like that tattoo. Wish my tattoo looked like that tattoo. My tattoo artist gave me this tattoo and then 2 weeks later he made that tattoo. Bastard. I feel like a little bit of that can smokescreen us and make like making finite decisions very hard because we see that tattoos are being produced over and over and over again. When I first started getting tattooed, I saw my tattoos and some other tattoos in a book that my tattoo artist had, and then we would go to Borders and read tattoo magazines, and I felt very comfortable with the tattoos I had. I would also walk around and people would talk to me about my tattoos, and it felt more like I was showing them something that wasn't super accessible. Like, I had traditional tattoos, and I remember when I got my inner lip tattoo, a couple people in the shop stopped me to look at them and talk about it. And now it's kind of just like, there's traditional tattoos all over and people are doing them the best everywhere. So I feel like you can get a little bit of a complex if you're like, well, I had to get a local tattoo, so this is what it looks like. Obviously, I don't feel that way. I love like my arm tattoos, but I can understand the thought process which would lead to regret. So I hit up my friend Mike from Go Tattoo Removal. He has been a big supporter of the channel and a longtime bud. He did my tattoo removal like 2 years ago. Every year at convention I hit him up. He's bae. I asked him, I was like, hey Mike, like, I'm dealing with this idea of instant tattoo regret. The moment you get the tattoo, you're like, I don't want it. I don't want it on my body anymore. So Mike said you had a couple of options. He said you can wait 3 months. That's how long it takes before he'll take you as a client to get tattoo removal. In that 3-month period, he suggested that you can communicate with your artist if there's just something you didn't like with the tattoo, if it wasn't bright enough, bold enough, if the lines weren't right, communicating with your original artist to see if it can be fixed by the person who gave it to you. If you overlooked something in the research process, you know, you found this tattoo artist and he gave you the tattoo and along the lines you're like, I don't know what I was thinking, they're not the person for me. Taking that like 3-month kind of period to maybe find someone who can rework your tattoo. I've had tattoos reworked and they saved the life of the tattoo where I didn't have to get removal, or I only had to get minor removal so the tattoo could be fixed by another tattoo artist. That's an option for you. Although I didn't regret and hate those tattoos, I kind of just knew they had to be spruced up, so it is a little different. Mike said that some of the most common tattoos that he gets that are like on the instant regret sort of spectrum are Friday the 13th tattoos, or any sort of like shop special tattoos. He said that people get those, they realize, you know, damn, that's permanent, I don't want that. He said another one of the people he often gets like these instant tattoo regret, these instant tattoo removal stories are from people who see tattoo artists who are like, you know, $500 an hour, these high-end tattoo artists, and I guess they build up the expectation and expect perfection because they come with a high name and they come with like a reputation, and then the tattoo just doesn't suit them. When he said that, I tried to picture myself like getting a tattoo from like someone world famous. Like you go to tattoo convention and there's kind of this like row of like notorious, famous, on Instagram, have been on TV tattoo artists. I tried to imagine, you know, what if I grabbed an appointment with one of these like tattoo artists and it just like didn't suit my body, didn't suit like tattoos I already have. I could see feeling instant regret, not only with the tattoo that I was given, but maybe the price I paid, maybe feeling like scared to speak out that I don't like it because of the notoriety of the tattoo artist, maybe feeling like a complex about asking them to fix it because they are famous. I was really surprised when Mike said that, but I tried to imagine myself in that position and I was like, yeah, that sounds right. Mike said that one of the most common, you know, instant tattoo regret that he gets as a client is somebody, it was their first tattoo, you know, the artist showed them the stencil and they were too afraid to say like, I don't like that, or can you fix that, can you tweak that? And you know, they trusted the artist and they trust the process, and then the result just wasn't what they wanted. And you know, that one was like the most chilling to me because I felt like it was really relatable. You do all the research to love the artist, so you're kind of just like, yeah, they know what they're doing. And then you didn't love it. I think, you know, that puts somebody in such a sensitive situation because if it's their very first tattoo, you know, they probably can't express that they don't love it. And I'm sure they're getting advice from people that are like, you know, the advice I gave earlier, you have to get used to it. It's a little striking, you know. You never had a tattoo before. But this doesn't invalidate if you hate your tattoo. You know if you hate it, and it's attached to you, so you can't even get rid of it. I remember before Mark Cross did all the rework on my upper arm, I would tell him, like, every time I would see him, I would be like, yeah, man, like, my upper arm just, like, you know, doesn't match the rest of my body. I really don't love it. And he would say something like, well, if you have bad tattoos, you have to get a bunch of good tattoos to, like, distract you from your bad tattoos. And it's funny, like, he said that to be, like, he said that in jest, but I, like, went home and I was like, yeah, I do have some good tattoos and some bad tattoos. I think, you know, the original question is, like, how do you learn to love your tattoos after you get them? And it's kind of just, like, not all of my tattoos are, like, all the way up there, like, completely up to par. They're not all the best tattoos. But after a while, like, I do just, like, love being, like, in a tattooed body. So there are tattoos, like, when I was interviewed by Ink magazine, they were like, oh, do you have any tattoos that, like, you regretted getting? And I was like, well, I don't regret it, but, like, for a couple episodes of my show, I got tattoos for the sake of the episode. And I was like, I have to stop doing that because tattoos aren't disposable and throwaway things. So, kind of in that, like, I understand. I understand that, like, sometimes tattoos happen, and then later you're like, shit. One of the other things that Mike said that people commonly, you know, a tattoo artist said, like, you should get this bigger, and they said no, or you should get this smaller. Like, the advice of the tattoo artist, you should get this tattoo smaller, and they said no. So sometimes cosmetically, the tattoo just doesn't come out the way you want it, and you might be like, shit, that was because of me. I know exactly what that feels like. So, like Mike said, if you can't get the original artist to rework it, if you can't find an artist to fix it, after 3 months, you can start seeking tattoo removal. I've had experience with tattoo removal, and, like, yes, it hurts, but you leave with peace of mind, and you leave feeling a little more relieved of the tattoo that you don't love. Go Tattoo specializes in lightening tattoos, so you can get tattoos over top that you love. That's what I did. My back tattoo is a cover-up. My rose is a kind of a rework cover-up that I had lightning on, and I also have a cover-up in my armpit as well. So there's always the option, you know, if you instantly regret a tattoo. I feel like I instantly regretted that one as well. Not the branch, the lyrics underneath. I remember being in the car on my way home like, I should have done that. But even if you feel that, like, I shouldn't have done that, even if you feel, like, instant regret, even if you go home and throw up because you're like, shouldn't have got that fucking tattoo, blah! Know that there are options for you, and know that people like me who have, like, a large collection of tattoos have been there. I don't strike out every single time. And like I said, the, like, seeing the stencil and being like, oh, it'll probably work out, and then it doesn't, like, chillingly hit home, because I was like, fuck, Mike, don't say that. Learning to love your tattoo after you don't like it, I mean, that's an option for you, especially if tattoo removal may not be an option. It took me a while to, like, find someone I wanted to do my tattoo removal, save up, get it done. Even now, I have a session paid for at Go Tattoo that I have not gone to yet because it's, like, a little far away. But I say it does give me peace of mind, and maybe you peace of mind to know that you have options. However, it's case by case. I'm not trying to say, like, oh, just one session. But you can get something lighter and then reworked. And sometimes it just takes getting a shitty tattoo to know what kind of tattoo you want. I think, you know, tattoos are getting better and better, and artists are becoming more and more competitive, and the bar is getting higher and higher every day to only have perfect tattoos, and tattoo artists who, you know, just aren't making the cut are getting pushed to the wayside. So I believe that this, you know, becomes more a better situation because we know that there are better tattoo artists out there, but then again, you know, we may be blinded by somebody's ability and then get a tattoo that we didn't want. So rest assured that there are amazing tattoo artists out there, and you don't have to be stuck with a shitty tattoo ever. You know, there is that picture circulating online of the tattoo removal shop in Australia who removed all the tattoos on that guy's face in like 8 sessions. He had a brand new face. You know, he may have woke up and been like, shouldn't have fucking tattooed my face. And he had options. So, yes, the anxiety's there. Yes, I've been there. But know that even if you have a giant tattoo, something can be made of it. And if not, it can be completely eliminated. Technology gets better and better, and our mistakes get further and further away. I love you guys. Give this video a thumbs up for the 100th freaking episode. I can't believe it. Thank you so much for submitting questions like this. Tattoo Talk Tuesday, you know, is here to stay. Look forward to some interviews on the channel upcoming early next year. Always submit your questions down below, or you can hit me up on Twitter at QuietCoolKid. I love you guys so much. Let me know. Do you have instant tattoo regret? The moment you got the tattoo, you were like, fuck. What happened? Did you learn to love it? Did you seek removal? Do you only wear long sleeves now? I feel that. I love you guys so much. Don't forget to subscribe if it's your first time here. Check out the playlist for all 99 other episodes. And until next time, bye.